Hey gang, Captain Jim here. Hopefully you enjoyed this week's show. Got Danny Whiting from the Cocoa Bassmasters in the studio with me this morning. We talk a little bit about the freshwater tournament fishing here in the Space Coast area that you guys and gals can get involved with. Fun for everybody from kids to adults. Little payout as well, so it's always nice to get some money back if you come in one of those top places. So hopefully you enjoy this show, plus a whole lot more about the saltwater, so don't miss this episode. Welcome to another edition of Catch a Memory Outdoors right here on WWBC 1510 AM. We appreciate y'all tuning in every Saturday right here to Catch a Memory Outdoors. And, man, it's going to be a good show this morning. We got some chilly weather out there for you guys and gals that are getting up. If you're already in the marsh, I heard the boys out there popping off this morning. Shotgun shells were flying, so hopefully there's some ducks falling for you guys and gals that are out there in the Poinsett and Lake Florence and that area, maybe Middle River, down at Winder. You know, I could hear a lot of shots popping off. So hopefully there's some guys out there getting some ducks. But got to let you know this is Catch a Memory Outdoors, and I'm Captain Jim Ross. For those of you that are just joining us for the first time, good morning. Thank you for tuning in. You can get us here at 321-632-1000. That's 321-632-1000. That's our call-in line right here in the studio in Cocoa. And I got my special guest, but no stranger to the station, Danny White this morning. Good morning, Danny.
Good morning.
How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing great. You, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. It's one of those first couple of days of the year you had to pull a jacket out of the closet and actually put a real, not just a windbreaker or a long sleeve tee. You actually had to put the jacket on.
Yeah. One of the coldest days of the year now.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm looking forward to. I'm going to try and do a little hunting over the Thanksgiving weekend. That's my game plan anyway. Hopefully, it's going to continue to stay a little bit cooler than what it has been. But today and even tomorrow and the next day, it looks like it's going to be pretty doggone nice weather.
Yeah.
So, not necessarily for going, maybe way offshore, but the close to shore stuff, and then hopefully it'll lay down and the way offshore stuff will start to get a little better too. But man, I'm really looking forward to a good week coming into Thanksgiving week, because it looks like the weather's getting exactly the way we need it to be for this time of the year.
Well, definitely, like this weekend is just like a perfect weather segment to go out and do the duck hunting this weekend, because of the weather is the way it is.
And the cold front that came through 2 days ago has really started pushing some ducks in. I was fishing Mosquito Lagoon a couple of days this week. I was seeing some bluebills. I was seeing some scoters. They're a dark black colored duck, and saw quite a few pods of them in the northern lagoon section. So the guys that are out on the marsh, man, I can hear them blowing up this morning though. So they're out there shooting something. I'm not sure what they're shooting at, but there's something flying around that they're taking a swing at.
Herds of birds on the river this the last couple of mornings coming to work, down South Tropical on the river.
Gotcha.
There were just herds of them out sitting out on the water.
Yeah, see, Tuesday they weren't here yet, which is kind of interesting. I only saw a handful Tuesday, but that was the last day I was on the Banana River.
Right. This was Thursday and Friday morning.
Yeah, after the front.
Yep.
Pushed them in big time, huh?
Yep.
Well, Danny, you are a member of the Cocoa Bassmasters, and so you guys just finished up your season, finished up your classic. Yep. So you've got a couple of free Saturdays. So I'm glad you took or were able to take the time to be able to come into the show. So, there's a lot of people that have moved here lately. Last couple of years, and they may not know that there's a local bass fishing club that does, tournaments on weekends if guys and gals are into that sort of thing. So why don't you give us a little bit of history about the club and what the club, kind of what the club does?
Well, Cocoa Bassmasters is the longest standing bass club in the state of Florida.
Really?
Whether you didn't know that, they've been around for years and years. And it's, like I said, this is the longest standing bass club here in the state of Florida. And what we do, basically is this: you fish one Saturday a month. We hold 10 tournaments a year. And then we have our classic, which in order to make the classic, you got to fish a certain amount of tournaments during that year, and you got to have a certain amount of points to make the top 10 to make the classic. And it's all in good fun, though. It's not big money. It's not serious stuff. Well, there might be a few people that are serious about it, but
Well, anytime a competition comes around, guys will start to, you can't help it. If you grew up, playing sports and doing that sort of thing and being competitive, well, you got to be a little competitive with a fishing rod too.
Right. So it's basically our club just is all fun. It's all good. Like I said, we hold 10 tournaments a year in our classic, and we have our Christmas party in December, and it's open to people that want to enjoy a weekend tournament once a month.
So it's not putting a huge strain on you,
Right.
It's something that you can plan out for the year, and if you have to miss a tournament here or a tournament there, it's not that it's no great shakes. It's no big deal.
Right.
So when was the Cocoa Bass Masters founded? Do you know?
I'm totally not sure. It could been it might have been in the 1950s and 60s.
Okay.
Because we still have a couple of guys. Well, I know one in particular. He's the longest that we have right now.
Standing member, yeah.
Yeah, we had a couple this past couple years pass away that they were the longest reigning members in our club, and unfortunately they passed away. But I think it's been around in the probably I'd say 50s and 60s.
Well, I know like the Florida Sport Fishing Association, as an example, they've been around since like 1967 or 68. There's the rich history out of Port Canaveral of fishing, and of course, Lake Point Set when I was growing up here. And did you grow up here? Or did you move here later on?
No, I grew up here.
Okay, so you grew up here too. So you can remember back in the day, Lake Point Set used to be a bass fishing destination.
Oh, yeah.
There were, a lot of guides running trips out of Point Set Sports Lodge and out of Lone Cabbage Fish Camp, up out of Highway 50 and then coming down from 50 south through the river. This area has always been a really, really good bass fishing area. And as a kid, I can remember seeing some of the local guys running around here, with their, stickered up, bass boats and, their 150 Mercury Black Maxes on the back of them, and, I was, of course, me being a 10 or 12-year-old kid at the time, I had a John boat and a trolling motor, and then eventually graduated up into a little 5-horse, motor that I used to go fish the Corey on the end of Barton Extension with, or we'd run, my grandfather would take us out and we would go out to the St. Johns River and we would run up towards Possum Bluff, or we'd run down, into Point Set and fish Taylor Creek and Middle River and, Lake Florence and some of those areas. And, it's one of those things where I personally have not actively freshwater fished in 35 or 40 years. It's a shame because I literally live a mile and a half from the lake.
Yeah, it's like, a great place. I mean, it's right close in your
Not
backyard.
that I haven't been out there once in a while, but I mean actively go fishing on the lake a lot.
Right.
I just haven't done it. And it's kind of a shame. I've got a hidden gem right here in my backyard, and I don't take advantage of it.
Well, you need to get out.
Yeah.
You need to actually just go out and enjoy the scenery that's there.
That is the truth. Because
it's got some beautiful scenery on it. The lake itself is gone down quite a bit. It's not as off as it used to be.
Right.
I mean, the fishing is tapered off a lot at Lake Point Set. I mean, I remember, like you said, when we were young, you take a trolling motor and just go out there and just fish. And the crappie fishing used to be incredible on Lake Point Set.
It's crazy you say that because I can remember days where we would put in at Point Set Sport Lodge, and we would be going out the little entrance canal there, and you would see the specks just popping on the bank.
Yeah.
And sometimes we would never even get out of the boat basin hardly, even into the lake. We would fish right there on the canal going out to the lake.
Right. I mean,
and do great.
The specks, it used to be an incredible speck place. You wouldn't have to go far, and you could catch your limit. Probably in a couple hours, easy.
Yeah.
But now it's like
jig head and a minnow, and if But here's the interesting thing about speck fishing. Some days you would do better on a float, and other days you wouldn't. And I could, as a kid, we would always have each rigged up. We'd have one float and one non-float. And some days you'd just be killing them on the float, and other days and then some days they'd be trolling a beetle spin, and they'd hit the beetle spin better than they hit the minnow.
Yep, that's what I was going to. The beetle spin used to be the ticket as well. If you wanted to catch them on a float with a Missouri minnow on there, that beetle spin was the ticket.
Yeah.
And you could tear them up. Now, I troll for them. I got my buddy Tom, who taught me how to speck fish really well, and how he trolls for them. He uses 12 rods at a time.
You talking
himself.
about Tom Ferentz?
Tom Ferentz, yeah.
Tom Ferentz can find it. He can find a speckled perch, can he?
Oh,
that man's fishy.
He's
that
the
man
man
is fishy.
Yeah,
yep.
He can find them. If they're around, he's going to catch them.
It's interesting. I don't know if you knew this, Mr. Ferentz. Well, I still refer to him as Mr. Ferentz. Tom Ferentz was one of the science teachers at Kennedy Middle School, and when I got into Kennedy Middle School, I specifically wanted his class because I knew he fished.
Right.
And it was funny because we would be on a lesson plan, and I'd ask him a question about fishing, and we could go on a 10-minute segue.
Forget about the lesson plan here. We're talking about fishing now. That's right. Yeah, his knowledge is incredible.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. And I'm just so thankful that I got to know him quite well now.
Mm-hmm.
And he's taught me a tremendous amount of stuff.
Between guys like Tom Ferentz, Dennis Hammond, some of those guys that started fishing in that time frame of the early to mid 70s when we were still kids. They were out there figuring it out. Mm-hmm. And boy, I tell you what, those guys sure did figure it out, didn't they?
Well, Tom, when you were growing up, he also was fishing heavy in the FSFA, the sports club.
Yes, he was.
He was big into that. And he did very, very well in that, as well as, of course, his speck fishing. So he just, I've seen the awards, and it's crazy. His wealth of knowledge on both ends of the spectrum, as far as being out there in the open water, as opposed to being in a little lake. Yeah. It's crazy.
So you guys have 10 tournaments a year for your bass club, and it's a very it seemed like I went to one of the events last year where you had a weigh-in here in Cocoa, right here at
Lake Poinsett,
the little park, F. Burton Park.
F. Burton Park, yep.
And it was kind of cool because guys it was like kind of like watching Bassmasters. Guys were pulling through with their trucks and their boats and pulling their their fish bags out and going up and weighing their sack of fish.
Right.
Yeah, that was a really neat event, and I enjoyed the heck out of coming to that thing. Do you do all of the events like that, or are there pull-throughs, or is it just that one event was like that?
It was just that one event like that. We wanted to make it right, make it good.
Yeah.
And which it turned out great.
Oh, it did.
For everything. And we wish we could have had more people show up for the tournament, but unfortunately that's not the way it worked out. But we had quite a few.
A bunch, though. I mean, there was a lot of guys that came out to that event.
Yeah.
So, it's a family-oriented type of a scenario. Father and son, father and daughter. I don't know if I didn't see any mother-daughter combos.
No, we had one female fishing, but she was fishing with her husband. But she work being kind of interfered in her fishing with it now, so he still fishes.
Yeah.
With another partner. But basically, you can fish any combo you want to fish. But the children that fish, if there's a child, he has to be 15 or older, and he has to be, if he's not 18, he has to accompany an adult.
By an adult.
Yeah.
So I tell you what, let's go ahead and take our break. When we come back, let's talk a little bit more about how somebody can get involved in the Bass Club, and kind of what the monetary expectations are whenever you're out on the tournament trail, if you will.
Sure. Sure.
So we'll come back right after this message. Danny Whiting and myself, Jim Ross, are going to be back with a whole lot of Catch a Memory after these messages. This segment of the show is brought to you by Lamb Deck. If you're looking for a great way to get your boat a whole lot more comfortable, a whole lot quieter, and just a joy to fish off of, get some Lamb Deck down on the deck. I'm telling you, this stuff is absolutely fantastic. By the end of the day, your back's not killing you. It is just really, really nice to be able to come home and not feel like you've been beat up after a long run in the boat. So give them a call up at Lamb Deck. They can make it, they can put it on metal hull boats. They can put it on poling platforms. You want the top of your cooler to match your boat deck. They can do that too. Anything that you need done, Lamb Deck can do it with their EVA non-skid decking. So just give them a shout, 321-505-4888. They're right there in Titusville. Real easy to get to, right off of the 405 and Grissom Parkway. So just go out there and give them a shout and tell them you heard about it on Catch a Memory. We're going to go to the phone lines. We got Capt Matt Lee on the line this morning. Good morning, buddy.
Good morning. How are y'all?
We're doing fantastic this morning. Having a big time in the studio here. A lot of chuckles going on, if you know what I mean.
I know. I hear. I like it. Dude. I like it. I like it a lot.
So the water temperature's dropping, the air temperature's dropping. It's a hard decision. Do you go fishing or do you go for the woods?
Well, it's kind of easy because here's the reason why. It is doe weekend.
Oh, that's
so
right. It is.
You are allowed to kill does this weekend with your rifle or shotgun or whatever. So we're going to go chase them around.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Are you dog hunting or are you going to be stand hunting?
No, we're going to be dog hunting all weekend.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of fun.
Yep.
Taking your daughter too, right?
Well, she was supposed to go, but then she promised her mama she was going to make all the desserts for Thanksgiving coming up, so she bailed on me this morning.
Man.
Joker. But no, I'll be taking her back to Georgia this year before the year ends, and we'll go hunt up there.
Very cool.
Well, she can hunt out here too, but she's not allowed to killing does after this weekend. So
yeah.
But that's fine.
But yeah, doe days are great days.
Fire. The fishing's been on fire up here in Mosquito Lagoon. I don't know what it is like down there, but man, I tell you, the numbers of redfish and still nice big trout we're catching. Black drummer starting to show up. Snooker hammering towards the inlet. I mean, it's like you can't go wrong a lot of times.
It has been pretty impressive. I have fished out of River Breeze 3 times this past week, and it was about as good as you can get, except for Thursday afternoon. That bite shut down on us Thursday afternoon, but the morning was surprisingly good.
Yeah, it's been good. Well, it depends on that mood. It just depends on the feeding because like one morning is really like you'll still catching, you know. You won't catch as many. The next morning you'll catch 14, 15 redfish, you know. Like,
yeah.
It's kind of.
And Matt, what about the jacks,
good.
Man? The jacks have been fantastic.
Oh my. Dude, we have been catching some monster, like 12, 15, 16, 17-pound jack crevalles in there. Like, hello.
Yeah.
What's going on?
You're casting a paddle tail expecting a trout or a redfish, and all of a sudden a 10-pound jack grabs a hold of this thing and takes off 3/4 of the way across the lagoon on you.
Yep, you got to fight.
We caught them on chunk.
Did you really? Yeah.
Yeah. They're that hungry, man. They're eating chunk off the bottom.
Wow.
Yeah, we caught them on chunk, and then the last time we got pigfish, which was like a while ago, but last time we got pigfish, we caught a couple in the flats, and I'm kind of like, well, that's kind of a surprise because normally they're school fish, you know. And on the way back to JB's, they're blowing up, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't pass this. So I'm right there. The bait hit the water, boom, boom. I was like, oh man, it's great.
You just described exactly what was going on Wednesday in Hong Kong.
No kidding.
It was. I was like, this. It doesn't get any better than this. You know.
That school has been around since the summer, and that school has been going from tigers to clinkers, all the way up to Hong Kong, all the way around. You just got to watch it because I was sitting there on George's one day, and I'm like, man, look at that boat wake coming. And I'm like, wait a minute, there's not a boat coming. And all of a sudden, they must have hit that mullet pod. It was pow, pow, pow,
yep.
pow, and those two little kids, I got the ones going out one side, one's going out the other side. I'm like, well, somebody better get some line back here. They had a ball, and that was like the very end of the day. That was like the Cap, and the grandpa was like, that was so freaking cool. I'm like, you ain't kidding. I mean, they ended on 2 10, 12-pound jacks. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, especially like so Thursday we had caught a couple of trout and a couple of redfish and just creeping shorelines and sight casting at fish and that sort of thing. Had some really good anglers on the boat Thursday. I was really happy to have that. And then we had about a half an hour lull where we didn't get anything to cooperate. And then all of a sudden, there it is, the whitewater and the mullet getting knocked around and just, it's like, it's game on.
Somebody flipped the switch.
Yep. And golly, everything we threw at them for 15 minutes. And it was funny because they kept running in a circle. Like they'd run around the boat and then they'd go right back to where they were and just start blowing up again. And then they'd run around the boat and we got multiple shots at them. It was just those jacks right now in that shallow water are absolutely a hoot to catch.
Well, especially on that light tackle we use in Mosquito Lagoon. I mean, when they're ripping out 100 yards at a time, and you're going, oh, okay, like, please stop soon because this $2,500 reel ain't got but 150 yards.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm seeing my mono backing under my braid right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Better put your hand on that thing before it pulls you.
Well, Matt, you were mentioning snook. So what do you think? Were water temperatures dropping 2-3 degrees, sometimes 4 degrees per night right now with these lower temperatures? Are you thinking you're still going to keep some snook action going on? I
hope so. I hope it don't drop enough to kill them.
Right.
But I think you're going to slow down. Snook normally slow down pretty good in the winter time, but we'll still catch them. I mean, it's just not going to be on fire like it was. I don't predict, but I've been wrong before. But yeah, they're going to. It's been good with the warm water, but now, like you said, it's slow. I think it's going to start slowing down.
Well, here's something interesting. Typically June, July, and August, snook season is closed. Because that's their summer spawning time frame. Okay, September it opened back up. Well, the fishing in the Canaveral and Sebastian areas, you get a legal fish and the customer wants to keep it. Okay, so we put him on ice and we bring him back and we fillet him out. September, the fish were still rode up. I mean, they were like ready to spawn in September. Which that's everything can be a month later or whatever. It happens. October, they're still rode up.
Wow.
And the 2 fish that we cleaned yesterday, both of those fish had roe on them. This is almost Thanksgiving. And because it was so warm for so long, these fish were still trying to get ready to spawn on this next, I would say, new moon maybe. Because the roe wasn't quite ready yet. But I couldn't believe that both of the fish that we cleaned yesterday had immature roe sacks in them, and that was shocking to me. We're into November now.
It's got to be something to do with the weather. Because we don't normally have tropical depressions and hurricanes and all that stuff. At the the end of middle of the part, the end of November.
Well, and the surf temp has been 78, 77, 78, 79 degrees up until a couple of days ago, and now it's down to dropping down. It's like 74 yesterday.
Right, it's going to start dropping. Cool. Right now I'm sitting at 37 here, so it's gonna drop. I hope it don't drop it enough to kill them. I hope it was as good as it's been. I hope they stay around, so next year's gonna be even better.
Well, I'll tell you, you were talking about the trout and the black drum. You know what they're going to do. They're going to go find a hole somewhere, and so a lot of times that makes the fishing even better because they're grouped up.
Yeah, good. The black drum, though, we get a lot of the schools. You know what I mean? The redfish and black drum, where if one don't want to eat, hopefully the other one does up there in Mosquito Lagoon, and then we do catch them in the deep holes and stuff like that too. But I'd rather chase them on the flat than in the shallow water.
Yeah, and like you say, the drum themselves are a little more cold tolerant, so they'll stay on the flats until the water gets down into the 60-degree range.
Right. So hopefully we'll start seeing them. I know we're starting to see a couple of schools pop up here and there, but hopefully it'll load back up like it did last year, and we'll have some really good fishing up on our end, as far as the black drum and the redfish, of course. So hopefully, hopefully they will.
Hopefully so, buddy. I tell you what, we're up against our next break. How does somebody get a hold of you? Or I was gonna say, do you even have any days open? I mean, it's. I know you're pretty booked up, but is there you got a spot here and there somebody can sneak in?
Yeah, sure do. I can squeeze people in. It's 386-214-3530. Just give me a shout. We'll line you up and get you out there.
Code Red Fishing Charters, Captain Matt Lee.
All right, we're gonna go run some whitetails, 4-legged whitetails.
All right, buddy. Well, good luck on that today.
Good luck.
Yeah, bud. Thanks. Talk to you later.
All right. Bye now. Yeah, that's cool. So Matt Lee has got dogs, and they have various leases where they're allowed to run their dogs on. And I went up a couple of years ago with up in the Sam Sula area where Matt lives, and they were running dogs, and it was the first time I'd ever hunted that way. And it is like dolphin fishing, like run and gun dolphin fishing is what it reminds me of. Running from bird pack to bird pack, or tuna fishing.
Right.
Running from bird pack to bird pack. So what you're doing is, the property you're on has this road, that road, the other road, okay? So everybody's got radios. You can hear where the dogs are. You know that the deer is well in front of the dogs. The deer's 300, 400, 500 yards in front of the dogs in most cases, because he can get through the woods a whole lot easier than a dog can.
Oh, yeah.
And so the deer's running, and you hear the dogs, coming your way, and you're like, okay, you're trying to get yourself set up, like everybody's riding around on four-wheelers and trucks. You're trying to get set up on one of those roads where you've got a shooting path, because when the deer comes along, a lot of times he'll jump in the road, he'll stop just for a second, he'll look both ways, and then he'll either turn left, right, or keep going straight through the woods, whatever it happens to be. But you get just that split second. And so it's it all happens fast. But I tell you what, adrenaline rush, it is a huge adrenaline rush. When you hear the dogs coming and you're set up, and you're set up with buckshot. You're not set up with a rifle. You're set up with 12 gauge buckshot. So you've only got a
certain range,
50, 60 yard.
Yeah.
So you're trying to determine where is that deer going to come out of the woods into the open spot where I could get a shot at him, kind of thing. So it's pretty neat. It's pretty exciting. And whether you shoot or don't shoot, it doesn't matter. It's an exciting sport to be part of.
Oh, I bet.
So it's a lot of fun. Hopefully those guys will have a good hunt today. Well, we're going to take our next break. When we come back, we got a whole lot more with myself and Danny Whiting right after this message. So don't go away. Welcome back. Appreciate you tuning in every Saturday right here to Catch a Memory Outdoors. I'm Captain Jim Ross, for those of you that are just tuning in. And I got my special guest, Danny Whiting, in the studio this morning. We want to let you know this segment of the show is brought to you by Sun State Pest Management. So if you got a problem with the bugs, give Sun State a call. Actually, we had carpenter ants at the barn starting to get into the wood. So obviously, call Sun State. Get them out there and have them take care of it. And last time we were over there was a bunch of dead ants. So that's a good sign.
Yep. That's a good sign.
So give them a call, 800-781-7378. Let them take care of your pest problems. Hey, I want to go to the phone or go to the Facebook real quick. A lot of guys out here saying, hey, good morning. A couple of guys saying, hey, from the woods, hey, from the water, hey, from this, that, and the other. But I had a couple of things here. Where was it? Todd Vaughn asked, good morning. He says, what's happening at the Lee Winter Boat Ramp? Is it gone for good? No, actually, what's happening there is an improvement that hopefully we will all be extremely happy with when they're done. For those of us that do use the Lee Winter Boat Ramp right there in downtown Cocoa Village, you know that if you have a 16 or 17-foot boat, it's a fantastic launch point. If you have a 25-foot boat, it's a horrible launch point because the docks are too short. They're not long enough to accommodate longer boats.
Right.
And so it's hard to get your boat off of the boat trailer and yet still tie it up to the dock. It's a two-man operation. You just hardly can't do it by yourself. And so what they're doing is they're going in. They had storm damage. They took the floating docks out. They're going to go back in. They're revamping the whole park, making the parking lot better, revamping the parking lot, creating some better drainage, if you will, so the water's not running off. They're going to have some holding areas for the storm water, that sort of thing. Hopefully they're going to upgrade the bathroom system, because the bathroom itself, they had it shut down for a couple of years now. So hopefully that's going to be part of that program. I think it is. But the main thing is the docks and the floating dock areas that are in the Cocoa Marina Basin there. They're going to do a huge improvement on all of those. So the boat ramp's getting a facelift, the parking lot's getting a facelift, and the floating dock areas are going to get a facelift. And then my sources tell me that they're supposed to actually put in a breakwater out there as well to keep the improvements that they're doing now from getting torn up from the next storm or two that comes through.
That would be a great thing,
yeah,
too.
because the hurricanes will tear those floating docks up.
Yes.
And so they're going to put a breakwater in there, and so that's going to be another benefit to people wanting to launch and load from that particular area. So that hopefully that answers your question, Todd. It's going to be about a year though. It's going to be, and of course the way that construction normally works, you can probably add 4 months to the year, so it'll be a year and a half ish. But hopefully, when it does open back up, it'll be better for guys with a little bit bigger boats.
But
I know
they are working
my
on it.
24-foot bay boat it's very difficult for me sometimes, especially when the water's low, to get in and out of those ramps without, some issues. So, well, who have we got on the phone line? Oh, Terry Wynn's calling in. Good morning, Terry.
Morning, Jim.
Hey, buddy. I appreciate you calling.
How's it going down there?
Oh, it's going fantastic. We are enjoying the heck out of this morning. We got a nice cool breeze. The ducks are flying in the marsh. I heard the boys blowing it up out there this morning. The snook bite on the jetty yesterday was off the chart. So fishing and hunting seems to be good right now.
The next 3 days, the weather is just looking awesome to be offshore.
Exactly. Finally, right? Well,
you got it. I did get out last Monday, and I also was lucky enough to get one of the fleet study exempted permits, and we tore them up.
Yeah, the red snapper permits.
Right. I had the good one. We come in with 36 head and caught 4 or 5 gags and red grouper and cobia and the biggest muttons I've ever seen. So,
Nice.
It was full moon the night before, but after about 2:00, it just lit up out there, and that was out of ponds.
Gotcha. So, quick question. I talked to a couple of guys this week that ran out and around, and they said the water clarity was not good for like dolphin trolling, that sort of thing. But it doesn't seem to have affected the bottom.
Well, red snapper don't like, and most bottom fish don't like dirty water, but after a couple of days they get hungry and it changes again real quick.
Right.
But the water was, the bait was hard to come by. We finally found it, but it was dirty and nasty out there. It cleared up the further out you went, but I did get a report of another boat out there that ran up on a school of mahi that were almost gapper size, and they ended up with 12 or 13 of them out of the one school. So
nice.
They are some out there, but you're going to have to look for them.
You just have to find that little pack in the clean water, most likely.
Right.
So what was your depths that you were fishing for the fish you got?
We fished from 100 to 120, and I can't tell you exactly where, but they do have the public sites out there, and it was up outside of the Mango Hole and approaching that Site 9 out there. But
yeah, so you didn't have to go. You didn't have to go too deep.
No, we weren't deep at all. We were on about a 34, 35 mile run out of Daytona, but there's so much good bottom out of Ponce Inlet, and it just doesn't get the pressure that the port does. So we try to stay up in that area all the time. Yeah.
Well, you guys definitely did a number on the fish. That's a heck of a board you had hanging there.
Well, we hope we can repeat it. We have 3 more legitimate trips under that program. So probably we'll be out there again early this week because of the weather being so nice.
Gotcha. Well, hey, you guys have got a big event going on. The Central Florida Saltwater Anglers are putting on a fishing tackle flea market this morning.
Yeah, that's right. It's at the Mud Hole in Oviedo. It's from 10 to 2, and we have quite a few tables out there. And anybody that didn't sign up that wants to bring items to sell, the tables are only $5. And it's going to be located at the Mud Hole Custom Tackle in Oviedo. Their address is 2133 Component Loop, Suite 1001, again, in Oviedo. But from 10 to 2, we'll have a bunch of members. We also have some tackle reps in there. And I don't know, are you coming, Jim?
Oh, yeah. I responded to the email. I've got, my truck is packed down with rods, reels, lures, all kinds of stuff I'm bringing over.
Well, I went through the garage this week, and I found out that I'm a hoarder, and I had 120 rigged dolphin lures. And I picked out my 20 favorite and put the rest in the truck.
Gotcha. So it sounds like there's going to be a good selection.
Right, and I know your friend Rodney Sarr will be there, and Justin Ritchie will be there, and then quite a few of the other club members that have things. And I know there's going to be some good deals to be had for all types of saltwater fishing.
Yeah. Well, I've got quite a few boxes of lures that I'm bringing. I've also got fly rods. I've got some light offshore bottom rods. I've got some speed jigging rods. And reels. I've got some kingfish rods. I've got some spinning rods. I've got some tarpon rods.
Wow.
I've got a bunch, and I got a whole bunch of Shimano's that I had sent over and got them cleaned and lubed and repaired, and I just haven't used them, and they've been sitting in the garage. I got some Shimano Stratics and some Saragosas and stuff like that. I haven't used them in a couple of years because I have a different sponsor now, and I'm like, well, I don't even know why I'm keeping these things around. They're just sitting in a box in the garage, but they've all just been, I sent them to Kel's Rod and Reel, went through them, fixed them all up, so they're all basically good as new. And then I've got some other ones that, you need a part here or a part there, but they'll be good as new. So I've got everything from a $5 reel to a $200 reel ready to come over and see you guys today.
Well, I think there's going to be quite a few people like that, and what I anticipate is I'm going to make a few dollars, and I'm going to turn around and spend it from somebody else and go home with more stuff than I walked down with.
Well, I need a new ladder stand.
The fisherman can't pass up a good deal.
No, you're right about that. Yeah, I'm gonna try to save mine because I need a new ladder stand. My ladder stand is subject to failure any day now, so It's time it comes down and a new one goes back up. I can't complain though. I've had that one almost 10 years, so
good use out of it.
Yeah, it's been a good one. Well, Terry, some mud hole tackle this morning from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. That's over in Oviedo. Right. Tackle, electronics, all kinds of boating equipment, and there's going to be guys like you and me who have some slightly used or some heavily used stuff that we've pulled out of the garage, and then there's also some guys that are going to have some brand new stuff, like you said, tackle reps that are maybe selling their samples off or something like that at a discounted price.
Exactly, and just what you mentioned, what's going on with CFSA, we're going to be having our annual members banquet in December, so it won't be a regular meeting open to the public, but at that meeting, because I'm the president of their Marine Foundation, we will be handing out some checks to the community. Once again, we'll be supporting the Dolphin Research Program.
Nice.
Blair Wiggins Clam Restoration.
Awesome.
The UCF Oyster Restoration, and this year we're going to add in Corey Redwine and Alex Gorch's program where they're replanting the mangroves. So we hope to give them a nice check this year.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Again in January, we'll be back online for our regular monthly meetings, which again are always open to the public. Our website is www.mycfsa or CFOA. As you know, Jim, we recently changed our name from offshore anglers to saltwater anglers because we've always had an inshore component.
Yeah.
And it better reflects the diversity.
Yeah.
In January, I have the guys coming from the FWC's exempted fishing program just to explain what that whole thing is all about. So, again, check our website, and you'll see some interesting things from month to month. And hope to see a lot of you guys out there today at the flea market.
Yeah, I tell you, there's going to be some great buys out there today. That's for sure. So mycfsa.com.
Exactly, and that information is on there about the flea market and upcoming meetings.
Well, tell it to everybody. Just needs to come on out to Mudhole today and come home with some new stuff for their tackle boxes.
Exactly.
All right, buddy. Well, thanks so much for the call.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
We'll see you in a couple of hours.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye now. Hey, gang, Danny Whiting and myself are going to be right back with more Catch a Memory, so don't go away. We're going to be back after these messages. We appreciate you tuning in every Saturday right here to Catch a Memory Outdoors. This segment of the show is brought to you by Engel Coolers, and guess what is going on at Engel Coolers this week? Black Friday special.
Take advantage of it.
All of their hard coolers, 20% off, and that doesn't include the new Ultralight 60, okay? But all of their regular heavy-duty coolers from 25 all the way to over 200 quart. Black Friday special, 20% off, and free shipping on anything over $99, which pretty much all of those will be over $99.
Yes.
So
yes.
That's pretty cool.
That's nice.
That's a great price. So EngelCoolers.com. Go check them out online. Big Black Friday specials. You got to like that. So tell them you heard about it right here on Catch a Memory Outdoors. We are going to, you know what? We were talking about getting involved in the Bass Club.
Right.
So how does somebody get involved if they want to go get involved with the Cocoa Bassmasters Bass Club? How do they do that?
Well, they can go to our website, which is the www.cocobassmasters.com. We also are on Facebook. It's Cocoa Bassmasters. I think it's cocobassmasters.facebook.com or something of that nature. But you'll find it easy. Just punch in Cocoa Bassmasters.
It should pop up.
Yeah, because we're the only one that's there for that.
Right.
So, and they'll tell you how to get, who you need to talk to, which is our president, Rick Jenkins.
Mm-hmm.
He's got his phone number there, and you can just give him a call, and he'll give you all the information you need to join the club. But it's fairly reasonable as far as the club goes. It's only $25 per person.
Oh, that's all for yearly dues are only $25 a person?
Your yearly dues is $50.
Okay. That's
okay.
Still nothing.
For the year.
Yeah.
And that's per person and it's 2 people per boat.
Okay. On the tournament days.
On the tournament days, yes.
And so you guys go all over Central Florida, though. You don't just fish here in the Cocoa area. You guys do trips to a lot of other places. Oh, wow. Our producer Paul just pulled up where you guys are going to be, or where you guys were. So you fished Harris Chain.
Yes.
In January.
Mm-hmm.
Lake Apopka in February. Alligator Chain. Lake Panisofsky. That was a hike.
Mm-hmm.
That's an overnighter there.
That is. We stayed the night there. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's an overnighter. The St. Johns River. Now, Is that St. John's here in Cocoa, or is that St. John's up towards Astor, or is that?
That's probably here.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And then Miami Garcia. That's an overnighter. Yep. Blue Cypress. That's always a good lake to fish. East Toho, West Toho, Lake Okeechobee. Man. And then
we fished.
And then the Classic was here at Lake Washington. So once a month. So those are just so. And haven't you in the past? Haven't you fished? Or did you? I don't know if alligator was on there.
We fished alligator. We fished Blue Cypress, Lake Cypress,
Hatchnahaw. All those.
We haven't fished Hatch. Well, you know what? Hatchnahaw is tied to those lakes,
right? So you can get to them. Yeah. And what about is it Lake Lizzie? Is that in your?
No, that's not.
What's that one that's off of? What's the one off of Hickory Tree down that way? Down off of Hickory Tree in East St. Cloud.
I'm not totally sure which one.
Lake Lizzie, Lake something or other. I forgot what it is. We got Lake Mary Jane.
Yeah, we haven't fished that one either. We try to keep our tournaments within an hour and a half drive.
Right.
At the most. Sometimes we go a little bit, like Panisofsky. It's a 2-hour drive.
And Garcia is going to
Garcia is also, and there's some.
I'm sorry, Okeechobee. Okeechobee is.
Yeah,
Also.
Okeechobee is our two. Well, we have fished there the last couple of years. It's normally our 2-day tournament.
Right.
That's our last tournament of the year. If you are close to the top 10 standings, that's the great tournament to try to bump yourself up into the top 10.
So if you're in 13th, 14th, you can get a couple of big fish out of that lake and bump yourself up to 8th or 9th.
Yeah, you get the points that you need to try to bump yourself into the top 10 to make the Classic. And the Classic is normally you don't pay an entry fee for the Classic, and we pay out by poundage.
Gotcha.
Is how we do that. So whatever it is you catch per pound, you get 5 fish, and whatever the weight for your 5 fish is paid by a dollar amount per pound, and that's how you get paid. It's not how you come first, second, or third. It's just all dollar amount by poundage.
So it's $2, $3, $4 a pound is what you get. So you want to try and put a 50-pound sack together.
Yeah. Well, I mean, normally our poundage is pretty good. I think one year we had $9 a pound.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a heck of a return. If you come in with a big bag, that's a heck of a return.
Yes. So it all depends on how it all works out.
Here's the thing though. You're never going to get rich doing this.
Right.
It's more for the fun, the camaraderie.
Absolutely.
And yes, of course, the competition, the bragging rights. You can nudge your buddy and go, hey, man, I finished 2 places higher than you.
Yep.
So there's always that little bit of, thing that goes on. That's the fun part about local events like you guys put on.
It's just like this year, we were on the bubble in 10th place, and we had 3 other boats that were setting down right below us within a point of knocking us out for the Classic. And that 2-day tournament came in handy because we caught enough fish, enough weight to and then now the boaters that placed 11th place, they actually won the tournament at Lake Okeechobee for us and our club. But we edged them out by a couple of points.
Yeah, just enough weight.
Just enough.
Wow.
Yeah. It could drop, you could go up and down in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah.
With the points.
That's the truth. Well, who have we got on the line? Hey, Mike Mann's on the line. Good morning, Mikey.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
Oh, doing fantastic, buddy. Doing fantastic.
It is chilly out, but it's not as cold feeling as it was yesterday morning.
Well, that's good. I guess the wind's down a little bit more from yesterday. Yesterday, it was up.
Yeah, the wind was up yesterday, and, I did an afternoon charter, I put in because, I'm just that guy. I can't sleep, so I get up crack of dawn anyway. So I put in at like 9 o'clock and went scouting because I wasn't picking up my clients till noon. And I think I had 5 reds, a snook, and a trout, all in artificial to the boat before I went and picked them up. And I really wasn't fishing hard. I was just kind of looking. So when I picked them up, and then the wind picked up. But, man, we had a great day yesterday. Water's clean. There's a lot of redfish around.
Isn't there?
A lot of snook, a lot of micro snook, but there's some bigger ones, too, and some big trout.
Yeah, I had a trout come by the boat on Thursday morning that was about 28 or 29 inches. And we didn't see him. We were just blind casting. And I saw the weight kick up. But I'm assuming the lure came across his back or around his tail area because he kicked up and made a little hump. And I was like, oh, something's coming, maybe a redfish. Well, when it came up closer, it had a pointy head and a dark tail, and it was big. He was big. So there's some good trout running around up there right now, Mike.
Yeah, it's nice to see what I used to see. Hitting areas where I'm like, well, let me go try here. Well, there's fish here. Well, let me go try here. Well, there's more fish here than the last place.
Yep.
Well, let me try here. Well, there's fish here, but not quite as many. I'll try here. It's fun again.
Yeah.
Because you don't have those, all right, I've covered 300 yards of shoreline, and I haven't seen a single fish other than a mullet and a puffer fish and a stingray. Now it's like, okay, I've covered 100 yards, and I've seen, 30 redfish.
Well, I do have to admit, there's no puffer shortage up there right now.
No, there is no shortage of puffers. They are definitely in there. But you know, I use baits that don't really, you know, they've got to work hard to get on those soft plastics I use, and but you know, it's just part of the game. It's just part of the game. And I did not see a whole lot of mullet yesterday. My guess is the water was 62 degrees. So it's dropped down about 10 to 12 degrees depending on where you were. And I'm going to assume this morning it's probably in the upper 50s.
Really?
That would be my guess. I'm sitting in the truck. I'm getting ready to head over to the Baheo warehouse factory because they've got their yard sale. So anybody that's listening that's within driving distance in New Smyrna, this morning from 7 to 3 at Baheo, they're doing their yard sale. Let's give back to the community. You can get great deals.
That's pretty cool.
Great deals on glasses. I mean, if you go to my Facebook page or my Instagram, go down a little bit, you'll see, and I'll repost it. And it gives you the address and everything. But it's a cool deal. It's Baheo's way of giving back. Al likes to give back to the community. So, very cool deal.
So there's two things that guys can do this weekend because the Central Florida Saltwater Anglers has their big electronics and fishing tackle sale. That's going to be a big event over at Mudhole. I've got a truckload of stuff that I'm taking over there to sell. So,
nice.
Oh yeah, fly rods, trolling rods, spinning rods. I've got reels, lures. I got a pile of stuff I'm taking over. So just trying to make room for the new stuff, you know.
I hear you. Yeah, I wish I'd known about that. I didn't even know about that. And I probably missed the email. Because I've got some stuff I need to clear out, and then I need to start ordering again.
Yes.
Now that you can actually order and get something that, you know, in a relatively decent time. During COVID, I was calling my guy and I'm ordering. He goes, "I'll when I can."
Hey, right. Well, buddy, we are pushed up against the top of the hour. How does somebody get a hold of Captain Mike Mann and get out there and do some fishing?
Yeah, I've got actually still a day or two open this coming week, and a lot of days open in December still. You can call me at 386-295-5991. You can go right to my website, Fat Fish Guide, and book it online. Instagram, Captain Mike Mann, CAPT, and then Mann with 2 N's. And on Facebook, Fat Fish Guide Service, guys. Get out there, catch a memory, stay warm. And, man, the fishing's on fire.
It's good, isn't it? It's good. Thanks so much for the call this morning, Mike.
Oh, yeah. Go Dogs.
Take care, buddy. Hey, we're going to take our top of the hour break. When we come back, Danny Whiting and myself, Jim Ross, are going to be right back with a whole nother hour of Catch a Memory, so don't go away. Gals, welcome back. We appreciate you tuning in every Saturday right here to Catch a Memory Outdoors. Got the phone lines blowing up, so I'm trying to tell people to hold off. We got a caller on the line. We'll have to call you back shortly. But I tell you what, we're going to go right to the phone lines. We've got the second hour of Catch a Memory starting right now. We got Captain Mark Gibson on the line. So good morning, Mark.
Good morning, sir. How you guys doing this morning?
We're doing good, buddy. We're doing good. How are you doing this morning up in Daytona?
Hey, the Dodge is chilly. It was 39 this morning. I did talk my guys into going fishing today at 10 instead of 7 o'clock. So, this time of year, Jim, when the water temps get a little cooler, fishing's a lot better. I mean, most people come to Daytona, Cocoa Beach, or come to Florida in the summertime, and they go, "Oh man, we're going to go down and go to, hit the river." And well, when the water temp's 90 degrees, nothing wants to bite.
Right.
So when it's cooler, this is a good time of year for people to get out there. So.
It's funny you say that, Mark, because between now and people are always asking me, what is your favorite time of the year to fish? And I say from Halloween until Christmas. That is my favorite time of the year to be here because, you get a front here and you get a front there, and it'll kind of it's a reset. It kind of throws an audible in there and messes up the pattern you had going. But I tell you, as soon as it starts to straighten back out and the weather gets nice again, the fish just cooperate so much better at this time of the year. They eat all day instead of just a short window here or a short window there. And and these kind of days are the days I really, really enjoy taking my customers out on the water.
Yeah, if you'd have told me, back when we were talking about me getting into the river fishing, that it was going to be such a it headache, I may have decided to go a different career. But, it's it's been really challenging just learning the about the fishing in the river, the tide change and the water temps and what bites certain times of year. Well, I mean, right now the black drum bite has been on fire. And my little sand trout are starting to show up. So that's kind of what I'm going to go sit there around today, try to catch some. If I can get to the inlet, I know that the sheephead bite's been on fire.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. I was going to say, because I know you've been getting the black drum pretty good lately. The weak fisher and the sand trout are starting to show up for you. But those sheephead, it's any day, that the sheephead should start.
Yeah, I see a lot of people catching them. So I believe they're already here.
They're here, ready to go, huh?
You're not getting a lot of people, if you're, they don't even try to target them if you don't have fiddler crabs or sand fleas, but they'll eat a small shrimp like nobody's business. So don't let them ever tell you they won't. You just gotta hide that hook good on them.
Worst case scenario, just scrape a couple of barnacles off a piling and put a barnacle on a hook. They'll eat a barnacle chunk just as readily as they'll eat a sand flea.
Now, have you ever heard the story of using red wigglers or even corn for sheephead?
I have. I've not tried it though.
Me neither. Now, I have had one. My buddy Kevin Gill, Captain Kevin there. He has tried the corn and said it worked, but you got to fire them up with barnacles, oysters, whatever. He said, once you fire them up, though, my luck, that wouldn't work, and that's all I'd have on the boat was corn for the day.
Well, at least you got a snack, right?
That's right.
I'd eat it too.
Bring a spoon.
Yeah. Well,
a little bit of butter and spoon.
Get back at it. I'm about to head through the Samsula area, so there's no cell service in that area. So.
Well, how does somebody get a hold of Cap Mark if they want to go catch some fish today?
Well, hit me up on my cell at 386-214-1477, or you find me on Facebook at Naughty Diver Charters, or even Google Naughty Diver Charters, and we'll get out there and catch a memory.
All right, buddy. Thanks for the call and good luck out there. Be safe.
All right, guys. I'll call you later.
All right. Bye-bye now. And we're going to go right back to the phone lines because we've got Jeff Kranick on the line. Thank you for being persistent, Jeff. I appreciate you calling back in. Mark Gibson had gotten on just in front of you there.
Hello?
Can you hear us?
I can hear you now.
Yep. I was just saying thank you for being persistent because Mark Gibson had called in just ahead of you there. But I heard the marsh was blowing up this morning. So hopefully you guys have got a duck or two down.
We got a duck or two down, but we watched these birds yesterday for 2 hours, and we were sitting on their flight path this morning. All three of us. Blair's in one hole, I'm in another, and Pepe's in the third one. And we were off the X today. It all moved over to the east, and there was a few, I shouldn't say a few guys, there's a bunch of 20-somethings, maybe even high schoolers, close to where we put in at, and they hammered them today.
I heard it sounded like World War III when I came out at 6:15, 6:20 this morning. I was hearing pow, 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 pow. I'm like, well, ducks are flying today, boys, because I can hear the shot shells.
I got a call from somebody down at Broadmoor Goodwin. It's a little slow down there. I think the ducks kind of moved out. Now, last weekend, youth hunts, the marsh and the STAs, everybody was full of birds. Some of the kids got the best shoot of their life.
Good deal.
It was a really good
That's
weekend.
awesome.
And I think some of the birds pulled out of here with the cold weather, and we just haven't gotten the ones to our north yet to fill in. So,
well, I'll tell you on the salt this week, Jeff. I fished the banana on Tuesday, and I didn't see much. However, Danny Whiting, my guest this morning, said that Thursday, Friday, he was seeing quite a few ducks on the salt on the banana side, up in the Mosquito. Yeah, up in the Mosquito, I saw a bunch of groups of scoters up there.
Yep, I got a call about scoters up near you, also a flock of them.
Yep, so, all around through Oak Hill, Edgewater, and then down into the open part of the lagoon. I was seeing pods of 6 to 12 ducks at a shot, but quite a few of them. So And I saw some teal running around in there too.
I talked to a buddy of mine last night or yesterday afternoon. He has not a lease, but they own some property right on Lake Erie up at Conneaut, Ohio.
Right.
And they're froze up. Their ponds are all froze up.
Well, that's a good sign.
All froze up.
Yeah, that'll get the ducks moving south quick.
Yeah. It is hilarious. They put their feet down and then they go skidding about 10 yards.
Well, they must have known. But how many days has Peppy been camping out in the marsh out there?
We got here to our spots last night about 6. Yeah, about 6 o'clock.
They must have smelled his cigar smoke.
They definitely smelled it from our blind, that's for sure.
They flooded into the pond behind my house last night. I mean, flooded into it.
Well,
I should have gone out there and scared them all up for you.
Did you hear all the shooting last night at dark?
No, I didn't hear any last night.
There was some gentleman, AK-47 type, guns. They were just blowing the water up.
Oh,
right
okay. My wife mentioned something to me about that when I ran out to Sam's Club and filled up the gas, the truck and the boat, and got some supplies for the upcoming week, and so I was indoors at the time. But when I got back, she's like, "It sounds like somebody's having a shootout." So yes,
they probably were getting ready to go to have a shootout. The way they were practicing.
They were armed up, huh?
They were ready to go.
Hey, Jim, while I got you on the phone, I just want to remind everybody that we're one thing, or actually two things. Thank you for everybody that voted yes on Amendment 2. We were kind of worried about that one because the other side got the jump on us, but it passed at 67%, I think it was, and all we needed was 60. So thank you for everybody for that.
Yeah, definitely.
Amen to that.
And secondly, you brought it up about all the birds on the salt already. We're all sportsmen. Most duck hunters are fishermen, and vice versa. And sometimes we forget to play nice with one another. And those guys, us, we only get 60 days out of the year. Fishermen get 365, and it's always good and kinder to stay at least a couple 100 yards away from them so the ducks will work.
Yeah.
We can all go out there and play together and not have any issues.
Well, I've gotten into the middle in when I was much younger. I've gotten into the middle of basically somebody's duck spread while I was poling down a flat, and it's once you realize that you're in where you're not supposed to be, you're looking at these ducks and you're just like, they're just sitting there. Why aren't they moving? Well, low light condition, you're poling down a flat, you're looking for that tailor or whatever. And then you realize those are decoys, and you feel like such a dunce. You're just like, how dumb are you this morning? And so having done it myself, I can appreciate the fact that it can happen. It can happen. But like you say, all you can do is, when I got close, I was just like, hey, sorry guys, I wasn't paying attention, and you just try and back out as easily as you can, and that way you don't mess them up for the rest of the time.
Do I got time for a quick story?
Quick one.
About 25 years ago, we were hunting Edie Creek down into the Max Hawk impoundments down there. We were on the outside, and we're not allowed to enter the area until 4 a.m. So we get out there, we get set up. A guy and his couple of kids were 150 yards down the shoreline. And just after sunrise, we noticed we had a lot of redfish tailing in the decoys. And same thing, the guide was poling down the shoreline trying to get up on these big reds. and he pulled into the gentleman's spread that had the kids, and the words started to exchange. And the guy said, "Look, I'm trying to make money here. I'm going to fish." He was telling his client to fish. The client was up on the bow going, "What do I do? What do I do?" More words. The duck hunter walked out there, and we saw it all. Got up on the bow of the boat and walked over. They got into a pushing match, and the hunter put him on the deck.
Not the end result you were looking for.
Yeah, they leave, and both of them pick up, head back to Edie Creek Ramp. We were out there for about another hour and came in, and the feds and FWC were there, and I saw the guy. I figured they would take charge the fishermen with simple battery, and they ended up charging the guide with interfering with a hunt.
Wow.
Yeah. So everybody,
wow.
like you say, everybody needs to play nice out there. That's for sure.
That's right.
Be
so
respectful.
Nobody needs to go to jail over a duck or a redfish.
Exactly. Well, buddy, hopefully you will have a couple more come back your way, and you get a couple more shells popped off this morning. Maybe put another duck or two in the bag, and we appreciate the report from the marsh.
Yep. It's we're all three picking up. It's over out here now. They're set down, and we went through 2 canisters of propane last night in the Mr. Buddy heater.
Woo! Yeah, it was a little chilly, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Guys, we'll talk to you later. Tight lines, and I'll see you later.
Take care, brother. Thanks for the call.
See ya.
Hey, gang, we are going to take our next break. When we come back, Danny Whiting and myself will be right back with more Catch Your Memory, so don't go away. You guys and gals need to give Petrucci Insurance a call. Insurance rates are going up every day. So guess what? You need to make sure you're getting the best deal possible. Call Petrucci and make sure that they do a rate quote for you. See if you can get a better rate than what you're getting on your next boat, next RV, next car, next house renewal. Make sure that you're not paying too much. It's easy to give them a call. 321-632-1200. That's 321-632-1200, and give the gang over at Petrucci Insurance a call. Actually, called an audible. Don fished with me on Tuesday. I was thinking about taking him Wednesday, but Wednesday it looked like it was going to rain all day. So I said, "Hey, let's try Tuesday afternoon." He's like, "Okay, yeah, I can make it. I can make it happen." And so I was fishing in the morning in the Banana River, and I told him, I was like, "Hey, let's meet at the port. I want to try something." And I'm glad we did, because I don't know how many snook we caught, but I actually got to bend a rod and catch a couple of fish myself. The bite was that good.
That's always nice when you get a chance to.
Yeah, when I get to fish too,
Yeah.
that's always nice.
Yep.
So we put some nice fish to the boat that day, and it was an enjoyable time getting to fish with Don. But anyway, if you're looking for insurance, obviously, like I said, none of it's going to be cheap, and it's going to continue going up. But make sure you're not getting ripped off by calling Petrucci. 321-632-1200. Danny, let's do the catch conditions real quick.
Okay.
So fishing and boating conditions for Ponce Inlet to Sebastian Inlet. Today we got northwest at 10 to 15. It's supposed to drop down, though. Supposed to drop down to 5 to 10 out of the northwest by this afternoon and tonight. So yesterday it did that. It was a little windy, and then it kind of dropped back off, and, man, it got good. The fishing really was good yesterday afternoon. Seas inside of 20 miles or 3 to 5 feet with a dominant period of about 7 seconds. And right now the Ponce buoy is showing 74 degrees, 4 foot at 5 seconds. The 4-mile buoy out of Canaveral, 73-degree water temperature. So the water temperature is definitely dropping, because it was 75 Tuesday afternoon. It's dropped 2 degrees to this morning. So it's on its way down. But it's 2 foot at 8 seconds. So it's a nice calm, kind of an inshore day. 20-mile buoy, 79 degrees, 5 foot at 8 seconds. And the 6-mile buoy out of Fort Pierce is 75 degrees and 4 feet at 9 seconds. Western edge of the Gulf Stream, roughly 44 nautical miles due east of Ponce, 37 due east of Port Canaveral, which is pretty far off right now.
That is a long way.
That's a long way for Canaveral.
Yep.
And 26 out of Sebastian. I think that's why there's such that plume of dirty water is kind of off of Sebastian, and especially off of Canaveral. Right. There's this big plume of dirty water that really takes a while to get out to the blue water. When you hit the edge, you'll know it, but it's taken a while to get there because 37 miles is a long way to get to the edge of the stream. Surf temp, Ponce is 73, Cocoa Beach is 74, and Sebastian is 76. And your tides look like this. We got a high coming up at 1:42 p.m. at Canaveral. 8:17 p.m. is your low, and 2:31 a.m. is your next high if you want to brave the cold this middle of the night. And then tides at Sebastian, high tide at 1:49 p.m., low tide at 8:26 p.m., and high again at 2:21 a.m. And then the solar lunar times, which are the best times to hunt and fish, presented to you by All About Archery down in Melbourne. The major this evening is going to be from 6:10 to 8:10 p.m., so just after, or right around sunset and just after sunset is when the major's going on. The minor, the midday minor's actually been a really good bite, though. So if you get a chance to get out on the midday minor, definitely try and do that. It has been from 12:49 to about 1:49 in the afternoon. And yesterday, same thing, 11 to 1-ish was pretty good bite. Started slowing down about 2. So that minor is actually a really good time to be out right now. Plus, it's the warmest part of the day.
Yep.
So highly recommend that if you guys, after you guys go to the flea market and tackle sale at Mudhole, or stop by the Bahio thing, or get online and do the Black Friday special at Ingle, get out and do a little fishing.
That's it.
Danny, you were going to elaborate a little bit on some of the things that you guys do with the Cocoa Bassmasters Club.
Yeah.
As far as what your membership involves.
Yeah. So what we do is, starting January, we have our big meeting. That's when you want all your club members to be at your meeting, because we vote on rule changes and stuff to that nature, and we go over all our rules and bylaws and stuff like that, and the dues are paid up for the year. And you want to be there for that meeting, because a lot of times there are some rule changes.
Mm-hmm.
Not all the time, but like this year coming up, we are definitely going for some rule changes. Now, as I said, it's only $25 per person for each tournament, so it's $50 per boat, but your annual dues is $50 a person.
So it's a really reasonable club to get involved with.
Yeah, and you have
as far as your expenditures go.
Yeah, and your dues pays for your tournament. I mean, it's broken down in percentages of what goes out and how it's paid, and it also helps for your classic at the end of the year, and it also helps we have a club function in Christmas time, for when we pay out for the classic, and we just have nothing to do with tournaments. We just have a nice get together with the families, with the club. We've been going to restaurant, but now this year we're having a cookout.
Oh, cool!
And it's going to be some pig and some venison, some gator tail, and some sides.
I hate all those things.
So it's a big deal. I mean, we're actually, this year has been our biggest turnout as far as club member wise, and the amount of boats in our club. It's been a great thing. We end up having 25 boats in our club. That's the most we've had, and I can't tell you how long.
Gotcha. So 50 anglers consistently showing up to the tournaments.
Yeah.
But you guys still have room to grow.
Absolutely.
I mean, if somebody's looking to get involved in some bass fishing, you guys have room to grow.
Some of our boats have left and went down from 25 to 22.
Mm-hmm.
And we averaged per tournament this year 18 to 20 boats per tournament this year, which is really, really good.
Well, here's the neat thing about being in a club like this is there are guys, let's say you're going to East Lake Toho.
Uh-huh.
Okay. A guy that's never fished East Lake Toho, the meeting before, the club meeting that month before, you go to it and you talk to a couple of guys and say, hey, look, I've never fished there. What should I look for? What do you typically throw? What kind of colors are you typically throwing? So you can learn about a place from people that are experienced at going to those places before you ever go there. And so you don't just show up and fish blind. You can have at least a slight game plan going into the tournament. And, sometimes having just a little bit of information is enough to get you a really good placement in a tournament. I remember the first time that I fished Jacksonville. I didn't know much about Jacksonville, but I knew Russell Theron and I knew a couple of other guys up there. And Harvey Cox and a couple of other guys, and I just said, hey, Tony Bozella. I gave him a call, and I was just like, hey, I'm going to be up there to come fishing, and I'm looking for redfish. I told him, what I'm looking for. And I'm just going fishing, but I'm looking for redfish. And I've never fished in an area where the tide swings as much as this before. What should I expect? And all three of those guys gave me different answers, okay? But here was the cool thing about it. So Tony Bozella, he was like, okay, here's what you want to do. On an outgoing tide or a dead low tide, you want to find little creeks that have pools in them that don't go totally dry, because some of those creeks will go dry. You want to find the ones that have little pools and get you a little black bucktail jig, and tip it with a piece of Gulp, or tip it with some Procure, or spray it with some Bang scent, some Assassin Bang scent. Give it some scent, and you want to work it really slow in those depressions. Really slow, because those fish are kind of trapped like they're in a little pool. I'm like, okay. And in behind bars between a main shoreline, especially one that has an oyster, and then an outside sandbar and has a trough in there.
Right.
He goes, you find places like that on low tide. He goes, that's where you're going to find your redfish. Okay, that's a great tip. I got low tide info. Mid incoming tide, Russell Theron was like, hey, around here we throw a lot of white spinner baits, and we throw them with willow leaf blades as opposed to Colorado blades. And I'm like, okay, well, I've got some bass gear. I've got a couple of white willow leaf, silver and gold willow leaf blades. So I found some spots, and he named a couple of spots, but he said, places like Browns Creek and Clapboard Creek and Chickapit. And so you go in there on mid water where the tide just starts to touch the base of the Spartina, and then starts to flood halfway up the Spartina, because the Spartina is, a foot tall, foot and a half tall, halfway up, and you throw those spinner baits right down that edge. Those fish push out of the deeper water, and they ride that edge on the incoming tides. So now I've got an incoming spot. Well, and then the last one was, okay, on a top of the tide spot, you get up, and it was a time during the year when it was a flood tide. Get up, and he goes, find places on Google Earth where there's barren sand. Like the Spartina stops, there's barren sand, and then you get to the hard edge with the pine trees, the oak trees, that sort of thing. Find those areas where the Spartina is sparse or is just kind of sandy. And if you can get into there on those flood stages of the tide, there's a bunch of fiddler crabs in there. And so the redfish get up on top of that and tail and feed, because there'll be 10 or 12 inches of water where a lot of times there is no water.
Right.
And he goes, they know that, and they get up in those spots. So here, I had a whole game plan just by talking with three guys. Now, did I know really exactly where to go or what to do? No. But I pulled my charts out. I looked at my Google Earth. I did a little research. I ended up coming in 7th place out of 104 boats.
There you go.
I was like, hey, take a check. Take a check home. This was a success. Called every one of those guys on my ride home and said, you know what? I really appreciate your help, because it helped put me in the money. And so with the Cocoa Bassmasters, you can do the same kind of thing, because those guys have all fished around here a lot of them have fished around here a long time.
Right.
So if you're a new guy to the area, you can get a lot of knowledge from your co-anglers. So it's pretty cool. Well, guys and gals, let's take a short break. We're going to come back with more of myself and Danny Whiting after these messages, so don't go away. This section of the show is brought to you by Direct Graphics. If you guys are looking for any kind of print material, give Direct Graphics a shout. They do truck wraps, boat wraps, any kind of mail-out flyers that you need to do. They do business cards, bracket cards, banners. Give Direct Graphics a call, 321-632-1001, right here in Cocoa, 321-631-1001. That's Direct Graphics right there in Cocoa. We appreciate them sponsoring this segment of the show. Want to let you know real quick, the new date for the Space Coast Banquet, the CCA Banquet that was postponed because of Hurricane Helene, is now December the 12th. So 12/12/24 at the Melbourne Auditorium. You can register today at CCA. Get online and get your tickets for that. It's going to be Thursday night, December the 12th. So it's just a few weeks away. And you guys and gals don't want to miss it, because it's a fantastic time. Hey, Danny, we were talking about tournament fishing and how you can get information from other guys. They're not telling you their secret spots.
No.
They're not telling you their favorite bait. but they'll give you a general idea of how to go out and become a little more successful on that particular body of water. And so that's one of the great things about belonging to a club that does the type of thing that your club does. So, you're looking at $50 for
per boat.
Per boat for an entry fee. You're looking at $50 for a one-time membership fee for the year. So it's super reasonable. I mean, it's not like it's going to kill you to join a club like that, to gain the information that you gain. Then you were mentioning something else about the payouts. You're looking to make the payouts a little bit bigger this year?
Yeah, so one of the things that me and my partner want to try to do is, and it's been put in by somebody else too in our last meeting on our discussions, that we want to try to change the payout to be a little bit more. Right now we pay the top 3 places in our tournament.
Right.
Okay. And we want to try to drop that down to top 5.
Oh, okay.
Especially when you're getting more boats in your tournament, we want to just expand that prize fund a little bit more. So we want to raise the fee up only by $5 more and expand that prize fund out just 5 places instead of 3 places.
So you go from 20 You're going from $20 or $25 an angler up to
per boat. It's $25 per boat per angler, so it's $50 per boat,
right?
And then you got your side pot, which is normally $10 per angler.
If you want to get in the Calcutta,
and if you want to get into Calcutta,
which obviously that
you do not
sense.
have to.
Yeah. So you want to raise it to $30 per angler?
Yes.
And that would raise the fees and create more places that you're paying back.
Yes. That's what we want to do.
Yeah.
So that's on the table for January's big meeting. Now, as I was saying, these meetings are the 3rd Thursday of every month, and the tournaments are on the 3rd Saturday of every month. Now, that's why you say you got to come to the first meeting of the year, because when we make these changes, there might be people that, can't make it on the 3rd Saturday of the month, so we tweak the tournaments maybe a week earlier or a week later. So that's voted in at the beginning of the month. We don't do it, during the year. We want to make sure we do it all at the beginning of the year, so they know this.
Yeah.
So,
and where do you guys meet?
Deal. We meet over in Cocoa at I'm not sure what restaurant that is. It's right there where Beef O'Brady is in Publix Plaza in Cocoa, right off 520 near 524 there. The Country Kitchen Diner, I think it is.
Kitchen, yeah.
Yeah.
They actually just moved. They moved from where they were. There's a sushi place or Chinese place in there now.
Yes, they're now
they moved to the end on the corner now.
Yep.
Right there in that Publix on 524.
Right. And our meeting's at 7:00 till 9:30.
Yep.
Sometimes earlier.
Couple-hour meeting. Yeah.
Yep. And it recommended that if you got things to say or if you want things changed or whatever, come to the meeting. If you want information, like I said, get a hold of Rick Jenkins, go to our website, or I'll give you my phone number. You can text me, and I'll be more than happy to talk to you about the tournament.
Yeah.
And my phone number is 321-543-5629, and just shoot me a text, and I'll be more than happy to call you back and give you the information that you need.
Yeah. Well, like you say, you've got a website and a Facebook page to go to.
Right.
So it's a really, really cool thing where guys who maybe they moved down from, Alabama, or they moved here from Indiana, and they're like, man, we really want to get into some kind of a fishing club down here, but they don't necessarily saltwater fish.
Right.
Maybe they've got a smaller boat, maybe it's a 16 or 17 or 18-foot boat, and they're not comfortable running out to the reef in that, but they still want to catch some largemouth bass and that sort of thing. So it's a great opportunity for them to get involved. And not the thing that I've been really impressed with over the years is the amount of knowledge that is contained within a group of fishermen.
Right.
And just by, befriending a couple of guys, it's amazing how much you can expand your knowledge base on a particular type of particular fishery or a specific species of fish.
Yep. And the camaraderie with the guys that's the most important thing, in a club to this nature. You just want to have, a good fellowship with these guys. And hey, if you can get knowledge from them and they're willing to give it to you, then soak it all in.
Oh yeah.
Soak it all in and just learn, that's what we had to do our first year. We had to get to know these people and try to get some knowledge from these guys and learn these lakes because we didn't know any of that when we first started. And now we'll hand out knowledge because we know a lot of these lakes now.
So how long have you been a member of the Cocoa Bass Masters?
This will be 5 years now.
Okay.
Yep.
But like you say, they've been around for 50 years or so.
Yeah, they've been around for a long time.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of them that's been well over 20 years in the club. There's a couple of them.
Now, let's just say that somebody fishes all of the tournaments during the year, but they don't make the classic. Okay, your end of the year kind of big bang finish. Can they still, like if you guys are going to wherever you're going to, let's say you're going to Lake Okeechobee or you're going to East Lake or you're going to Lake, like your tournament this year was at Lake Washington right here in Melbourne. Can people just come out and watch or fish, or can
Absolutely. If they didn't make the classic and they still want to fish, they can put in for the Calcutta, and they can fish for the Calcutta. They just cannot fish for the classic money.
Gotcha.
I mean, you come in, you do the normal tournament thing. You come in at the time of the weigh-in, you weigh in your fish, and if you got the big bag,
so that guy that finished behind you this year in 11th place, that guy that finished behind you in 12th or 13th, they could still come on the classic, and still fish against you for the Calcutta money.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I mean, because you might have a guy who's he kind of knows Lake Washington really good, but he finished up in 14th place. But he's like, hey, I can get out on this particular tournament, and I can get a little payback off the Calcutta if I do good.
Right.
And having local knowledge like that definitely would help him.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't make the class.
Sure.
Well, that's interesting. Well, cool. Well, let's take our last break of the day, and when we come back, we got a whole lot more. So don't go away. Captain Danny Whiting and myself are going to be right back after these messages. Appreciate you tuning in every Saturday right here to Catch the Memory Outdoors. This segment of the show is brought to you by Strike Zone down in Melbourne. Strike Zone is a fantastic tackle store. If you guys haven't been there, you got to stop in. And here's the cool thing about Strike Zone. If you are listening to this show and you're like, man, I've got a fisherman, an angler, a lady angler that likes to fish, but I don't know a thing about fishing. I don't know what to get them. Strike Zone, just go down there and get a gift card. Makes a great stocking stuffer.
Yep.
Get them a $50 or $100 gift card, and that way they can go back and pick out whatever clothing, whatever tackle, whatever it is that they need, and or even cast nets, shrimp nets, frog gigs. I mean, they've got all kinds of stuff down there. So there's a lot going on at Strike Zone. Plus, they've got a Black Friday special where you get they've got discounts on Costa sunglasses right now. So you'll want to stop in and check them out. Got two other things real quick before we get back to Danny. One, the P&K Altman's Foundation Take a Kid Fishing Tournament is coming up next, the 7th. So not next weekend, but the weekend after that, I guess it is. December the 7th. If you want to get your kid involved at Fox Lake Park, it's from 8 to noon. Go to Altman's AC, that's ALTMANS AC at cfl.rr.com, and you can register them up. And we're going to be giving away a half-day fishing trip with myself to one of the lucky kids there. And that's brought to you by Mike Phelps, who's one of my charter customers who has some issues. Couldn't come down for his 3 days. He wanted to come down and fish. And so he said, take that money and take a kid fishing with that money. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get a kid out fishing. And, of course, parents can come too. But you got to be there. There's only 40 spots available. So Altman's AC to get that done. The other thing is the 29th annual Kids Fishing Clinic at Port Canaveral is going to be rescheduled for January or February. So keep an ear out for that. We're going to be having some more information on that pretty soon too. So Danny, we were talking about tournament fishing for bass and just the overall, even if you don't tournament fish, just the overall camaraderie that comes with a fishing club. So you don't have to sign up and fish competitively if you don't want to.
Right.
There's still benefits to being in the club for $50 a year. It's very inexpensive. Do you guys, on your club meetings, do you ever have guest speakers or anything like that come in, or guys that are club members talk about a specific type of fishery or place that they go, or specific technique that you do during your meetings?
No, basically our meetings are just going over last month's tournament and going over things that this tournament. That's basically what it's all. All our meetings are there for, is just to solidify that and also to talk about our drawing for the next tournament, our order, and we got to pay and stuff to that nature. That's basically what our meeting's for.
Gotcha. So you're just getting everything in order for the next event.
Yeah, and plus there's again, the changes that we have on how we do our lakes and pick our lakes, that we also do that. And this year is going to be another change on how we do our lakes and how we pick where we're fishing at each month.
Gotcha.
So that's
I have a
another
question.
change.
So have you guys ever gone to Crescent Lake?
Crescent Lake. I don't believe we have. Not
in the time that you've been.
Not at the time I've been there.
So the reason I ask is I had a customer who got on a lease up near Crescent City, okay, and he invited me over to go deer hunting and for an evening hunt and then a morning hunt the next morning. So I went over there and we sat and saw a couple of smaller deer, but I didn't shoot anything. We went out to dinner that evening, and on Crescent Lake there is, or a tributary of Crescent Lake, there is a real nice eatery, place right there, waterfront diner on the lake. And but looking at the lake, I was like, man, this is a really pretty lake. I would imagine water looked good. I would imagine there would be a lot of fish in that lake. So that's what I don't know, it just popped into my head. I figured I'd ask.
Well, see, the thing is about when you pick a lake and you want to fish a body of water, we have got to fish the lakes that can hold our tournaments, the ramps that can hold our tournaments.
Gotcha.
Because if you get a lake that's picked and the boat ramp's not big enough to hold the amount of boat trailers to accommodate us, then, and plus everybody else that comes in, then we can't fish that lake. We got to have lakes that can accommodate 18 to 20 boat trailers, and plus the public that comes out and fishes.
Yeah, so you're looking at whatever the normal capacity would be plus 20.
Yeah.
So so you do have to kind of take that into consideration. I see it. Now, the boat ramp there at the time was just, back down the boat ramp, pull off, and park in the field.
Right.
So it was plenty of parking. There was no issue there. But just kind of interesting, I don't know why that popped into my head. It just was one of the places that I was kind of thinking, well, there should be some fish here.
Because we do our weigh-ins there and everything. We got to have that capability to set up.
Now, when you guys are
up.
doing the weigh-ins, you're bringing the fish back to the weigh-in site. Do you just release them right back at the dock, or is there a holding pen? Because I remember the one you had at F. Burton. You had a big tank,
right,
like the one FWC uses.
Yes.
Oxygenated tank to put the bass in once they were weighed, and that way you could go take them back and put them back in the river afterwards.
Now, our tournaments, normally, it depends on the lake. There's some lakes that we have to literally put them back in the live well and take them out to the lake and release them. And there's some places that we can just drop them right there at the dock.
Right at the boat ramp.
Yep.
Yeah.
And let them go.
So there's a good thing right there for a guy who's a member of the club. He goes and fishes the tournament on Saturday and then spends the night there locally and fishes the next morning on Sunday. Right there at the boat ramp.
Right there at the boat ramp. Plenty of fish right there. That's right. That's right. Because the amount of fish that goes right back there, he's willing to catch one of them at least. But yeah, the scenarios, to join this type of club is beneficial for, like I said, knowledge, camaraderie, and fun. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah,
that's what it's all about.
Definitely. Cocoa Bassmaster sounds like a fun time. Like I said, the events that I've been to, I've really enjoyed seeing.
Well, this
and I love the number of kids that were at the event that we had over here.
We try to get kids involved.
Yeah, it was great for the kids too.
Yep.
It wasn't just the adults.
Right. We try to get the kids involved as well, because that's the future, and you want them to have a place to fish
exactly
and enjoy their fishing time as well as we did when we grew up. So teaching them and try to get them involved in it, that's the best thing. That's the best thing.
Nothing better than getting kids involved. That's why I'm so high on a lot of these kids fishing clinics that are put on around the area, because, it gives kids an outlet. It gives them an interest. And, not every kid is good at baseball or football or basketball.
Right.
Now, they could be good at that and also be good at fishing.
Sure.
But not every kid's not every kid likes to play, say, a team sport type of a thing.
Right.
And so fishing gets kids out in the outdoors. It gets them thinking. That was the one main thing that I think fishing did for me, is it made me analyze, what am I doing that's working and what am I doing that's not working? And so that, there's something to be said about having that particular type of learning process in your life. If you're told everything your entire life, you don't figure anything out for yourself.
Right.
So your problem-solving skills just kind of suck, honestly. But to get out there and throw this bait and throw that bait and throw that other bait and change the color and change the style, and then all of a sudden, hey, I'm having success with this. Problem-solving. It's a great skill that everybody needs, and fishing is one of the things that does that, but you're having fun while you're doing it.
Plus, it also keeps the kids out of trouble.
Yeah.
Keeps them in the right frame of mind, keeps them on the right path.
Yeah, kids standing on the bank throwing a topwater plug is not
Right.
on the corner selling drugs.
That's right.
Yeah.
So for this next year coming up, we are having...
Well, unless he's trying to get some more expensive fishing tackle.
Right. But we are having another annual tournament this coming up this next year, but it's going to be a little bit different than our one this year. It's going to be open to the public. It's going to be just come and sign up and fish. Whoever wants to come in and sign up. But we're not sure yet where it's going to be held at.
Or when it's going to be held.
And when it's going to be. It's probably going to be around March. I would say probably in the middle of March or the end of March. I would bet in that time frame.
Gotcha.
And there'll be more information about that as well, pretty soon in our first meeting.
Very cool.
Yes. From what I gathered, what I heard from a couple of meetings ago, it's just the payout's going to be right there, and how the payout's going to be, it's going to be based on how many entries are in the tournament that day, and it's going to be split from there.
Well, like you say, good time to be on the water in getting the kids out there. Just the whole thing is just a win-win for everybody. So definitely appreciate you coming in this morning and kind of giving us some details about one of the oldest bass clubs basically in the state, like you were saying, and it's right here in Cocoa. It's right here on the Space Coast. So I know you've got members from Cocoa, Rockledge, Vieira, Melbourne, the beaches, Titusville. I mean, there's anglers from all over. Do you guys have anybody from like the Orlando area that comes over?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we got a few from the area. We got some people that just call into the meetings because it's too far to drive.
Gotcha. Okay.
For them to come to our meetings, so they call in.
Interesting.
Yep.
Okay. So there's always a way to get involved.
Yes.
And that's the benefit to it. Well, I tell you what. So once again, Cocoa Bassmasters on Facebook.
Yep.
CocoaBassmasters.com.
Yep.
Or they can call you how?
They can call me. Just shoot me a text or something at 321-543-5629.
543-5629. That's Danny Whiting, and help answer some.
Shoot me a text.
Questions.
It's easy to text me than it is to call me. Because if I don't know your number, I'm not going to answer it. But if you shoot me a text and tell me what it's about, then I'll be more than happy to text you back and give you a call back.
Very cool. Well, guys and gals, hopefully you enjoyed today's show. It looks like the inshore fishing is getting good. The offshore fishing, out of Ponce anyway, is very good lately. And bass fishing is we're coming into pre-spawn here pretty soon.
Yep.
So get ready because the big girls are coming out. So it's a great time to be out anywhere, freshwater, saltwater, ocean, and those guys in the marsh are blasting it up. So there's some ducks flying this morning as well. So till next time, do exactly what Danny and myself are going to do. Get out there and catch yourselves a memory.